Hey everybody, welcome back to the vlog. Thank you so much for once again joining me for tea time. Today we have a little bit of fireside, and that is it. Fireside. Got that smokiness of the Lapsang tea. So good, guys. So good. I hope you're enjoying your cup of tea, or maybe a cup of coffee, or as I always say, maybe something harder. Depends on what part of the planet you're on. Today, we're going to be hanging out and discussing Panasonic and what is going on over there. There was an interview that just came out by DP Review, and I want to go through it a little bit and just give you kind of like the highlights so you don't have to go through the entire interview, and just give you my commentary on it, and let's have a discussion about it. And what do you think is going on? I know a lot of you guys got on me because I was kind of ragging on Panasonic for their just crap AF. This is from experience, from using it. But that being said, we'll get into it a little bit deeper. But in the meantime, have you went over to JCristina.com/ebook yet? Have you? And if not, why not? You can find my ebook over there. It is free. 10 tips of making tack sharp images. There's something there if you're a professional, a pro-am, or even an amateur. There's something there that you can glean out of that ebook. All right? Grab it. It's free. You can't beat free. Once again, JCristina.com/ebook, JCristina.com/ebook. Go pick up a copy. Anyways, let's get into this interview. Once again, this is a Panasonic interview. They talk about a lot of different things. I guess dialing in the direction of where Panasonic is going and where they're not going and what's going on over there. So let's check it out and see what's going on. I'm going to give you some of the questions and then how they answer them, and once again, give you some commentary on top of it. So they start out by saying, with much of Panasonic's recent effort focused on full-frame camera systems, what does the future of Micro Four Thirds look like? Now, a lot of you have been asking me about that, and you know I've always been down on Micro Four Thirds. I just don't think that the platform is going to be able to hold out because of smartphones. It's just very difficult to keep a platform going when smartphones are believed to be as proficient or more, all right, or as, let's say, good of a value or greater of a value than a small little camera is. It's very difficult to keep those cameras going. Should I spend the same amount of money for an APS-C or Micro Four Thirds? Okay, we're going to go with an APS-C because it's a larger sensor. This is the mental, all right? And this is how it's been for many years. So I do believe they're going to be going away. The question here is, what are you doing with Micro Four Thirds? So now, the way Panasonic answered it was simply like this. We will strengthen our product lineup in both full frame and Micro Four Thirds in order to support all shooting opportunities for creatives. So of course they had to bring in full frame also, even though the question was only about Micro Four Thirds. They continue by saying Micro Four Thirds is basically fantastic, or creators want it for the compactness, lightweight, mobility, and adequate depth of field. Once again, adequate depth of field. We, of course, as I always state, we're in this good enough era, and we're always looking at just good enough. Is that good enough? Is that good enough? Well, when they say adequate, it's basically like saying good enough. The camera produces good enough depth of field. And the thing is a lot of people don't feel that it's good enough, and there's other things that they don't like about the Micro Four Thirds, and obviously smartphones is one of the issues. Now, what they do indicate here is that the Micro Four Thirds has a wider range of uses, and many creators have high expectations for new Micro Four Thirds products. We will continue to strengthen the lineup from this year onward. So for the last 2 years, they've been working diligently on the full frame lineup, right? You have all of your S series, S1, you have the S5 that just recently came out. So they've been working a lot on full frame. And what they're saying here is, we're really sorry, but we're going to continue working on the Micro Four Thirds, but not now, but for the years to come. That to me means that we're not going to see anything come out as far as Micro Four Thirds this year from Panasonic. Now, maybe they'll put something out there as an announcement towards the end of the year, and maybe it'll come out in 2022, but it seems like that's not going to happen. So if you think that a Micro Four Thirds, or if you're waiting for a Micro Four Thirds from Panasonic, you probably should look elsewhere. That's what it seems like to me. I could be reading it wrong. They continue by asking, in terms of lenses, how is Panasonic's effort allocated between its full frame and its Micro Four Thirds system? Really good question, because a lot of people that have Micro Four Thirds have seen that there's been no lenses to come out, or let's say relatively no lenses, for the last couple of years. So they answer by saying, since the launch of the S series, we just talked about this, right? We have focused on developing full-frame lenses with the highest priority given to the early enhancement of the lineup. Obviously, what that's saying is we're directing all of our focus on that S line, the S series, which is a full-frame mirrorless series in comparison to the Micro Four Thirds series. They continue by saying, first of all, the professionals who are the target of the S series, we will enhance the S Pro lenses range to deliver high performance that cover a wide range of focal lengths. Basically, right now we know there's only a few out there, not that many or not enough, but we're going to continue to develop more S professional lenses so that the pros, let's say, that are using the S series are going to have a greater diversity in lenses soon. They also made acknowledgement that they were working on a prime series of 1.8, f1.8 lenses that will be coming out soon. And they were talking about that 20 to 60 that was recently introduced. Now they continue into the Micro Four Thirds stuff, and a lot of you guys that shoot Micro Four Thirds want to know about. They say, as for Micro Four Thirds lenses, we now offer 31 lenses which are useful for various scenes. And in the future, we are planning to develop more lenses that meet the needs of creators, regardless of whether they shoot Micro Four Thirds or full frame. And once again, we're now mingling the full frame with Micro Four Thirds, and they're acknowledging that they have 31 lenses out there, and stop busting our nuts about it. All right, we're going to get to making more Micro Four Thirds lenses, but not right now. We have plans in the future, but we don't have plans right now. So once again, what I was saying about the cameras, chances are we're not going to see another Micro Four Thirds camera from Panasonic this year. We might see an announcement by the end of the year, but most likely we're talking about a camera in 2022. The same thing goes for lenses. They're saying just hold your britches up here. Just hold on. You already have 31 lenses. You don't really need more. We are going to develop more in the future, but we're also going to develop full frame. So once again, it's that answering of the question with full frame injected into the answer. Basically meaning Micro Four Thirds is not a priority as of right now, which it really probably shouldn't be, right? Probably shouldn't be. Anyways, they go on to ask, and this is one of my favorites, they say, are you working on improving DFD to make it more competitive with phase detection AF from other brands? Now, this is why I'm always ragging on Panasonic, because they are probably the best video camera out there. Okay, hands down. They're just chock full of stuff that video people like myself just love. The problem is their autofocus is abysmal. They use this DFD system. And if you don't know what that is, it's basically depth from defocus is what it stands for. And it's a means of determining focus based on like distance and seeing what is out of focus in comparison to in focus. All focusing systems determine how focus is based on the light hitting the direction or the pinpoint of light hitting the sensor. And then they dial it in until the point is exact, right? So this is just their methodology in comparison to using like a dual pixel AF or phase detection, whereas you're using contrast detection as well as phase detection to determine focus. They're basically only using contrast detect, and it just simply doesn't work as reliably, as well, whatever you want to call it. It's just, to me, it's abysmal. All right. And these are some of the reasons why friends of mine and colleagues from many years back stopped shooting the GH line for some of their ad spots, because autofocus was just crap and they had to always pull focus. It was an issue. depth of field issues, the amount of light due to sensor size, a lot of other stuff, okay? And they ended up going into the C series Canon, like a C200, 300, C500, something like that. Whereas with these cameras, even though they're higher end cameras like the S1s, right? Like an S1H that we shoot behind the scenes sometimes on set, TV stuff. Well, those cameras still can't pull focus for crap. They just can't. They're all over the place. They don't know what the hell they're doing. Sometimes they're locked on. They're perfect. Other times they're gone. They have not a clue. And a lot of it has to do with the contrast detector, the DFD system. So how they answer that is simply this. They say autofocus is a technology that is consistently advancing. With the recent release of the Lumix S5, we have evolved the DFD algorithm based on the needs and feedback of creators, and we have received a positive response from the market following the release. They continue by saying, however, this is where it all goes south. However, we recognize that there are still issues that need to be improved to reach perfection when it comes to AF. What? To reach perfection? Panasonic is so far from perfection when it comes to AF. This is a ridiculous statement. Anyways, they finalized by saying, we are currently considering future improvements. I'm glad you're considering it. Such as improving the processing capacity with new hardware, improving the accuracy with new software algorithms. Please look forward to the evolution of our AF in the future. What? What does that mean to you guys? What does it mean? That boils down to, we are not going to introduce phase detection. We're going to continue with this DFD nonsense, contrast only, autofocus, and we are going to what? We're going to improve software. We're going to make it faster. All right? We're going to improve its accuracy. We're going to improve its algorithms. Why? You know, I've heard from a lot of people that the reason why Panasonic doesn't provide log unless you pay for it is because they lease log, right? They rent it from another company. And my response was, well, does Canon lease their log? Does Sony lease their log? Does Fujifilm lease their log? And they just pay for it and then just give it to their clients? Or do they make their own log profiles, right? Their own log. And I'm going to venture to say they make their own log. And why would Panasonic not make their own log? And when it comes to phase detect, what is the underlying reason why Panasonic does not put phase detect in their cameras? What is it? Are we talking about some type of legal thing? I'm telling you guys, if any of you know, please tell me. I've been baffled by this for 10 years or more. If you know what it is, please let me know, because I would like to know and then disseminate this to everyone listening, because there's got to be a reason behind it. There has to be. There's no reason why someone would just cut off their nose to spite their face and continue down the path of contrast comparison to face. All right, I don't know, or dual, let's call it. Yeah, so anyways, let's move on a little bit here. They say Panasonic has already shown an interest in computational imaging in its consumer photography products. What has the market response to these features been, and can we expect to see further development and innovation along these lines? That's a great question. Computational photography, a lot of people are interested in because it's like all the rage. People want to be able to get more out of less, right? More ROI, more value. And if you can do it computationally, like smartphones do, like an iPhone or a Samsung or something, then yeah, stick it into the cameras to get more out of it. And I don't have a problem with that, okay? So they come back with saying that we have announced cameras with post-focus as well as focus stacking. Now, they get into basically what this is. Post-focus gives you the ability to focus in on an image after taking the photo. So what it does is it basically takes, let's say, a whole barrage of images at different focusing points, and then later on in post-production, you can get in there and say, oh, let's dial this in and say, yep, that's the one that's dead on. right? So that's one of the things that they do with their computational as well as focus stacking, where it allows you to get more depth of field if you need to by stacking images one on top of another. Also, you can use focus stacking as they do in the S1, the S1H, as well as the S5 to get 96 megapixel images. How? By just stacking images in general, basically capturing higher resolution images using their high resolution mode, basically stacking, right? Now the S1R goes all the way up to 180 megapixels by using this multi-photo synthesis, as they call it, or something. Anyways, putting those images together. So you have focus stacking, you have image stacking, you have post-focusing to be able to focus later on in post-production. They continue by saying, if you utilize computational methods while improving the quality of video, we have the potential to create even more value. So once again, going into video as another place where this can all help, let's say. And yes, I see them doing that. I see a lot of companies doing that. Computational photography is really big. Obviously, the cameras that are in these smartphones or the smartphones have been doing it a lot. But remember, guys, computational photography uses a lot of computational power, right? They heat up. They get hotter. Why? Because there's a lot more going on. And the processing units that are in cameras are not even 1/10 as robust as the processing unit that you have in your phone. So it's going to be difficult, all right, to get to that grade, let's say, of computational photography, unless they put in some serious meat and potatoes when it comes to the processing unit in the cameras. And I just don't see that happening. So we'll see. It's a possibility. They continue by asking, is it possible that we will see internal raw video capture in Panasonic cameras in the near future? They answer the question by saying, we cannot answer about future products. But of course, we feel that the demand for raw recording is increasing. And we need to develop products with that in consideration, as they do. A lot of people like myself like to be able to record in RAW, especially on set, so then later on we can do a lot more in post-production. For example, really high-end color grading to get things absolutely perfect after the fact. So RAW has a lot of uses, so RAW is where it's at, but for consumer grade, I don't know how, let's say, useful raw recording is, especially right now. And they go into speeds and whatnot. They continue by asking, we've seen the adaptation of CF Express take off, but other devices are starting to plug directly into SSDs, which makes more sense for video? Question mark. Obviously, yes, it does. And they answer by saying, yes, CF Express consumes a lot of power during high-speed writing. And they add to that by saying, we believe that the ideal solution is in-camera storage like CF Express for video. Now, what they're saying is, yes, recording off the camera onto an SSD is a great way to go because now you are dissipating heat by not introducing heat. All right. You don't have to worry about the heat because the heat is outside of the camera instead of inside. But they're saying right now it would just make for a massive setup. So they can't do that as of right now. The best option is using a CF Express card. But they add to that by saying it is expected that innovations will happen in the future around low power consumption of CF Express, especially when it comes to long time video shooting. And that's really what you need to do is have the power consumption of the CF Express writing at high speeds to be lower consumption or lower power needed to not heat up as much. So they're saying that they see that happening in the future. So CF Express is where it's going to be for the foreseen future. And SSD will be, let's say, limited to only professional grade type of devices that need that massive and fast writing, maybe 8K and whatnot. Now they continue by asking, what are the main features and improvements that consumers are asking for from video products? Now, their answer is, we cannot answer in detail, but we believe that our GH series and S1H have been highly rated for their functions, performance, such as unlimited recording time and various shooting assist functions. Yeah. We will continue to listen to the consumers who use our products and solve any problems that they may have. Like autofocus? Yeah. So they really didn't want to answer that. What are all the problems that people are saying that there are with their cameras? And I don't blame them for that. They're not going to get into all the problems that people are having. I mean, for example, the S1H that we use, those cameras, I mean, they work really, really well. They'll record for a long, extended period of time without overheating. It's just, once again, autofocus is just not there. It's unusable. We have to pull our own focus with those cameras. So now a really great question was asked that says, how do you plan to get cameras into the hands of younger, smartphone first customers, right? That's what we see. Most of the young people are only using smartphones for all of their photographic and video needs. Why? Because they're paying $600, $700, $800, $1,000 for a phone camera that's in their pocket all the time. Why go buy something else? Especially when it comes to like a Micro Four Thirds. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. So they're asking, what are you doing to entice these younger folks to come into your line? They indicate that video production by young people is increasing, and low price and ease to use mirrorless cameras are attracting attention. In addition, creators want to shoot images that are more advanced and unique. By catering to this need and strengthening the affinity between our cameras and smartphones, we hope that young people will also take digital cameras in their hands. They finalized by saying, which I think is interesting, the key to survival for the camera market in the future is responding to diversifying needs quickly. I think that's a fantastic comment. I think that's great. Responding to the needs, basically, to your clients immediately, quickly. Well, then what the hell have you been doing with autofocus for 10 years? I mean, you obviously are showing that you understand that the key to surviving in the camera market is by responding to what the clients are asking for and doing it quickly. You make the statement, but then you don't do it, right? I don't get it. Anyways, the final question of Panasonic was, the Panasonic S1 and S1R launched just over 2 years ago. How have they been received? Good question. They answer by saying, in the market, they have been highly valued for their performance, operability, robustness, and other points required as a tool for professional work. On the other hand, oh God, here it comes. We received many requests for improvements to AF performance. Really? We have many updates to the S5 in regards to AF tracking, and we expanded these improvements to the SR1 as well as S1R November last year via firmware. Guys, I mean, just like I said earlier, Panasonic is amazing when it comes to video. The only thing that holds them back is their autofocus. I've said it before, and I'll say it again, that if Panasonic was to go with like a dual pixel AF, something that does phase detection as well as contrast detection, lock on their AF, they would probably be the best video system for the money. Once again, ROI, return on investment, value, the best value video system on the market. Hands down, period. It's a great system. Fix the damn autofocus. It's not like you don't know it. It's not like your customers haven't said it. It's not like you're not indicating it right in your questions and answers here that you need to diversify and fix things quickly. You understand it, but you just don't do it. I don't know. If any of you guys are Panasonic shooters out there, like myself, when it comes to more on the professional side of things, I shoot like an EVA 1, for video and whatnot. Obviously, we're pulling focus on them because it can't pull focus. It just can't. AF is useless. But if you're shooting with like an EVA, or if you're shooting with like a S1, S1R, S1H, S5, or whatever, let us know what you think about the autofocus, How does it work for you? Do you feel that Panasonic should just stop with this whole DFD nonsense and go down the road of having some type of phase detection in their cameras. What do you think? What do you think? Anyways, guys, I hope that you found this interesting. If you haven't, just at least a bit, just a little bit, not if you agree with me or not agree with me, but if you found it interesting, please throw the video a thumbs up. That would be very helpful so that the YouTube gods would look kindly on this video and say, hey, other people might be interested in it. Also, if you're not subscribed, why the hell not? Click the little subscribe button over here. Also, if you are subscribed, click the button up here, the little bell icon, so when I go live or when a new video comes out, you'll be notified of it immediately. Also, if you want to contribute to the channel, click the little join button right down here. You'll become a member. You'll be able to give $1, $2, $3 a month, whatever you so desire, and I'll be able to give you perks for doing so. That would be much appreciated. Also, when we're done talking in the comment area below the video, please go over to community.JCristina.com. Once again, community.JCristina.com. It's our creative Discord server. We're hanging out there 24/7, 365 days a year. There is hundreds and hundreds, probably thousands at this point, of creatives over there. It doesn't matter if you're into photography, videography, or tech. There is something there for you, and there's no trolls there. There's a lot of people with a ton of information, and they're willing to give it. So ask any questions and share. Once again, community.jcristina.com. And if you haven't went over to my website, head over there, jcristina.com, where you can find all the photography tools that I've invented over the many years for you and me, and hopefully there's something there that you might like. And if there is, please pick it up and support me and my family. That would be much appreciated. And for getting to the end of this video, use promo code YT20 at checkout. Once again, YT20 at checkout, you'll get 20% off everything in your shopping cart. So that's it, guys. I'm out of here for yet another vlog. Many blessings to you and your family. Stay safe and stay healthy.